Various municipalities across the country are facing a myriad of water challenges, from a lack of access to taps running dry due to infrastructure challenges. Recently, eThekwini Municipality said it was struggling to provide water to the northern suburbs of the city due to algae clogging filters at the Durban Heights Treatment Works water plant. Joining me now is Dr Ferrial Adam from the WaterCAN Executive Manager to discuss the situation in eThekwini. Doctor, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this morning. A very concerning issue here with regards to water in the city. What could you say are the key concerns as well as the implications of the situation, especially for local communities within the Durban areas?
Good morning, Katlego, and thank you for having me on your show. I think it's very concerning. I think that, algal blooms within our bulk water supply is a concern, especially because we've got wastewater treatment works that are not working. So you're increasing the nutrients in that, and then you're getting these algal blooms. And I think that people not having water, firstly it was throttled because they couldn't supply, and now they don't have water. And going one day without water is stress enough. And the communities that have been affected have been going for days now. The challenge, though, is that feeds the cycle of the water tankers and not having water and infrastructure falling apart. So it does create a lot of stress.
And what factors are contributing to this?
So in terms of you do have occasions where algae does get sucked into the system because it can be quite disruptive. The problem, though, is what we don't have and that we need to figure out is what is the maintenance schedule at the bulk supplier, the water suppliers units. What are they doing in terms of maintenance? Why did they wait for it to get so bad? Or is the algae so bad? So we need that kind of information. It's not enough just to say, oh, our pipes are blocked or our filters are blocked because of algae. How did you get to that? Because you should have things in place to make sure at such a level where you are the bulk supplier. It's not at the municipal level. You are the bulk supplier. Your pipes you should avoid that. You should be having, have they been doing maintenance regularly? How regularly is it happening? And those are the questions that come out when you think about the situation that it is in.
Let's talk a bit about the drop reports, the blue drops and all. How much of guidance do these give in advance in order for us to be able to see whether we would have an algae problem a year or 2 or 5 down the line?
Right. So there are different aspects, right? So the blue drop and the green drop report focus specifically on municipal supply. Now, the blockages here was at the bulk water supplier, which is, for example, Rand Water, if you're looking at Joburg. And in this instance, it's the one in eThekwini, where it abstracts the water from the river, and then it sells the water to the municipalities. It's that the blue drop and green drop don't particularly look at the bulk water supplier. So they would not have been able to report on that. Where the blue drop and green drop reports is on the actual municipality, the reservoirs, and getting water to the people and the supply to people. So that's the difference.
So then what other forms of data could then have been utilized in order for us to be able to foresee such a problem?
So they should have been able to monitor flow almost immediately. So they could have seen a trend in the drop of the flow, because that's what they were saying was happening, is that the algae was blocking the filters. But obviously that would have happened over time. And that is why I'm questioning, have they done the regular maintenance that they need to do? But they would be able to then ascertain the flow and look at the deterioration of the flow. So it wouldn't have just happened. And if it did, then that's something that needs to be explored as well in terms of what's happening before they're abstracting the water. So I think that they could have monitored it. They could have been able to have better alerts in place, and they should. There should be, there's systems in place. It's a lot of it is online. They have the computer systems that can check immediately when something is blocked to this extent. So that needs to be understood. Why were there not early alerts and what was going on?
So in a situation like this then, Doc, how long would it take to clear the water of the algae? And just what are the implications of that process on its own?
So firstly, that's the thing. It's how much algae, and it could take long. It could take long. It could take a short period. But also, in some instances, they'll use chemicals to actually get rid of the algae. The other thing that is a concern is the water that is now, and this is something that I think the municipality said that they will watch, is that the water that comes out now for supply to people and to communities needs to be monitored for whether it's of good quality to drink. So those are all the kind of spin-offs from having something like this. A blockage is not just simply unblocking it. It's also about having regular testing now to make sure that the water meets the quality standards for drinking. And that needs to be done. I think for me, if I was the municipality, I would release that weekly to let people know that this water is still good enough to drink. And if it's not, to let people know that as well.
And in this instance then, Doc, what should the people of eThekwini be doing? Should they boil the water before consuming it?
Look, I think that I don't want to create alarm unnecessarily, right? We want to know that we need the tests to be done. So that for me is the first step, is that people need municipality needs to test the water. And if people feel like, you're starting to feel ill or there's diarrhea or whatever, I think you need to alert your municipality and stop drinking the water and boil it. But we're not there yet. So we need, and this is the challenge we have across the country. You mentioned it, you said we're having these challenges, is the communication when things like this happen is so poor that people on the ground don't know what to do.
Right.
And I think we need one avenue of communication. So I can say boil your water, but am I creating alarm? And I think that the municipalities need to step in, test the water regularly, and if it's problematic, let people know. But they need to do this and let people know every day.
All right, Doctor, thank you so much for your time and for your inputs. That's Dr. Ferrial Adam, WaterCAN Executive Manager, speaking to us there about the water situation with the algae in eThekwini. Well,